The following program is brought to you in the interest of on-the-job safety by Ingersoll Rand, the world leader in the manufacture of advanced design air tools and compressors. With 4 families of air grinders, there's an Ingersoll Rand grinder that's perfect for virtually any industrial application. Whether it's our innovative G Series family, the heavy-duty Pro Series, Aero pencil grinders, or our affordable Revolution Series, Ingersoll Rand grinders are designed for the real world to meet your needs for comfort and productivity.
Portable air grinders have earned an important place in industry thanks to their unmatched versatility, reliability, and ergonomic designs. However, if you take an air grinder for granted and use it improperly, the tool can pose definite safety risks for you and others around you. By watching this program, you'll have a greater awareness of the risks you face, a better understanding of how to prevent mishaps and injuries, and the role you need to play in workplace safety. We'll be covering 6 different topics as they relate to grinder usage and safety. They are codes, standards and documentation, personal protective equipment, air delivery system safety, abrasive wheel handling and mounting, protective grinder features, and safe grinding techniques. As you watch the program, keep in mind it is intended to give you an overview of air grinder safety issues. While we'll be covering quite a bit of important information in this program, it is by no means all-encompassing. There are many codes, standards, and other sources of applicable safety information. Many are reflected in the engineering of our grinders, the writing of the safety information manuals, and in the production of this program. Depending upon where you're located, there may be other standards and codes that may also apply. These need to be followed. Always install, operate, inspect, and maintain your grinder in accordance with all applicable local, state, county, and federal standards and regulations. Your safety people should be familiar with all of these. When unpacking any new Ingersoll Rand tools, you'll find manuals containing safety and product information in the boxes with the tools. The manuals are printed in multiple languages, and you need to take the time to read the manuals before using the tools. If you don't have copies of the manuals, ask your supervisor to provide you with them. You can also print copies of the manuals from the Ingersoll Rand website. Simply go to the Service and Support section of irtools.com, where you'll find manuals and tech data for the particular tool you're interested in. Just select what you want, then read or print it. Once you've read the manuals and familiarized yourself with the applicable codes and standards, you can proceed to use your grinder safely. Any discussion of safe air grinder operation should include the subject of personal protective equipment. The equipment you wear should be appropriate to both the tool you're using and the type of work being done. No matter what the task or tool, you should always wear eye and hearing protection. Grinders, by nature, generate a lot of noise, dust, and particles, which can damage your hearing or eyesight if unprotected. Under certain circumstances, you might also need to wear a dust mask or other type of breathing apparatus, hard hat, gloves, an apron, safety shoes, or other types of specialized personal protective equipment. You should consult with your safety coordinator to determine what is required and to ensure that you follow their recommendations. Since we're talking about air grinders, it's important to touch on safety issues pertaining to the air delivery system. Ingersoll Rand recommends 90 psi as the maximum safe operating pressure for our air grinders. A reading below 90 psi isn't unsafe. It will just limit the grinder's power and speed. You should also periodically check the air hose for any defects, such as kinks, leaks, fraying, etc. These can cause line ruptures and, in turn, injuries. If there are any defects, correct them before you connect the grinder to the hose. Protect the air line from traffic, ideally either by suspending the line overhead or mounting it on a wall. The hose you're using should be kept out of traffic as best as possible in order to protect it from being run over and damaged. If you're using a hose that has an inside diameter larger than 1/2 inch, install a safety device, commonly called an air breaker, at the source of the air supply or branch line. In the event of a hose failure, the air breaker reduces the airflow and limits hose whipping, which could cause serious injury. Always use correct sized hose fittings, which will help you maintain maximum air pressure along the length of the line. Quick disconnect fittings can be used on grinders with wheels smaller than 4 inches in diameter when installed directly into the tool's air inlet port. Never install a quick disconnect into the air inlet port of a grinder with a wheel 4 inches or larger. In those situations, you need to use a hose whip, which would be threaded into the grinder's air inlet, separating the grinder from the quick connect or other hose coupling. Blow out the line to remove any moisture or dirt. To do so, simply attach an air gun to the end of the hose, point it in a safe direction, and then blow out the line. Always have the air supply shut off when attaching or detaching any air tool. Before connecting the air line to the tool or a whip, be sure to clean off any dirt or grit that may have accumulated on the fittings. You can then connect the tool to the air line. Double check that the connections are secure, especially threaded connections, because they can work loose quickly if they're not properly tightened. A safety cable should also be used across hose connections when the hoses have inside diameters larger than 1/2 inch. For hose couplings, put the safety cable loop around each hose end, then connect and lock the couplings together. To complete the safety cable installation, you must then slide the safety cable loop down each hose until it's taut, which our worker has yet to do. When you've double-checked everything, go ahead and open the shutoff valve. Let's take a minute to review the steps we just covered regarding air delivery system safety. Have sufficient air supply at a recommended 90 psi maximum. Check pressure periodically with a calibrated gauge. Check for and correct any hose defects. Protect the airline from traffic, ideally either by suspending the line overhead or mounting it on a wall. Then, the hose you're using should be kept out of traffic as best as possible in order to protect it from being run over and damaged. Use an air breaker if the hose is larger than 1/2 inch inside diameter. Always use correct size couplings. Quick disconnect couplings can be threaded directly into grinders with wheels less than 4 inches in diameter. Never use quick disconnect couplings on grinders with wheels 4 inches or larger in diameter. Blow out the air line. Always shut off the air supply when changing tools or abrasive wheels. Use a hose whip between the tool and any hose coupling with wheels 4 inches or bigger in diameter. Clean dirt and grit from fittings. Check all connections for secure seal. Use a safety cable across hose connections with hoses larger than 1/2 inch inside diameter. Be sure to spread it taut. Many of the industry safety codes pertaining to air grinders specifically address the grinder wheel, and for good reason. If a grinder wheel is carelessly handled, mounted, stored, or used, it can disintegrate and cause serious injury. So it's vital that you observe the following precautions. Grinder wheels must be protected when not in use, because even a small crack or minimal contact with moisture can cause a wheel to fail. Choose and mount grinder wheels with a minimum amount of handling, and take extra care to avoid dropping a wheel. Always select the right wheel for the job and the tool being used. It's easy to do. Just look for the manufacturer's plate on the tool. It shows the tool's rated speed. Don't use the tool without first checking its speed with a calibrated tachometer. Always use a wheel with a speed rating equal to or greater than the grinder itself. Refer to the wheel's label for the manufacturer's maximum rated safe operating speed. Never exceed this speed. If the wheel doesn't have a rated speed on it, don't